Boom. Okay, good to go. I want to start with a shout out to Coach Dalby. Men's soccer, huge road win yesterday. Awesome to see. Congratulations to them. Obviously, we're trying to do the same thing, get a road win this weekend. Just watching the tape off of San Diego State, talked about some things after the game, but offensively felt like, we left a little meat on the bone in regards to some positive drives that didn't finish with touchdowns. Penalty came early that got us out of that, / we were, second down, we got opportunity to move the ball into the deep in the red zone. We're not on the same page in the past game, so there's just a couple of things like that throughout the day that left some points out there. Defensively, I did think we tackled well defensively, squeezing the pocket, obviously with the sack production. Still some things to clean up, busting coverage, created some explosive. Special teams wise, really all four phases, a couple things we could have done, but ultimately, kickoff coverage, they got one out on us that we got to tighten up. We kicked the ball out of bounds. I did think Atticus's early field goals, momentum wise, was huge, so that was nice to see. And so we're going to have to clean up some things headed into, game one of a conference schedule that is going to be competitive. I mean, there's some good football getting played in this league. Challenging start for us here on the road against a team that's playing with a lot of confidence. Got some good players, schematics. Got a bunch of respect for Coach Dickert, that program, what they've done and where they're at. Really in all phases. Starts again, reoccurring thing quarterback-wise. Can play a tough quarterback here. I think he's playing at a high level. He's played a lot in that scheme, can create, extend. They got explosive players on the outside. It's a challenging scheme when you got a quarterback with that type of talent. Defensively, starts at the line of scrimmage. They can rush the passer as good as really anybody in this league with those guys on the edge. Challenging in the run game, pressure-oriented. So, and then you throw in a home crowd that anticipating is going to be jumping. It's always a good atmosphere over there in Pullman. Makes it a really tough place to play.
You've played 3 games now. You know quite a bit about your team. What don't you know about your team that you'd like to know?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you're always going to learn each week. Again, these games are going to get highly competitive, and so the back and forth and how we handle adversity, we had a little bit of it last week, so we got to find that out. And again, each game's going to be different, how that adversity comes. Again, would like a lot after 3 games of what we've got, but curious to see if we can still stay in this constant state of improvement week in and week out, because it's still a long season ahead of us.
You've got players on this roster that played in the 2019 game and the 2021 game in Pullman. Both were last-second losses. How much do you think some of those guys remember that, carry that with them, maybe as they're preparing for this week? Does it help, or is that not?
I think it does help. I think they do carry it, and they recognize how tough it is to win up there, how close we were at those 2 games, but they know the serious challenge that we're headed toward.
Jake Dickert's been real vocal and real public about the Power 5 situation, the situation both schools you're in. You've kind of chosen to take the other path and not say much of anything. Why is that?
We again focused at the task at hand. What is right in front of it? I'll totally agree with Coach Dickert in regards to the Oregon State and Washington State belonging, competing at the highest level. I think there's a proven product, not just in football, but in all sports, that both universities, programs have competed at the highest level, had serious success, and that should continue.
The running game for you guys has been a little bit feast or famine early in the season. Do you see any reasons for this inconsistency so far?
I don't know. You run the ball, you're not going to always rip off 10, 12 play gains. We've been pleased with a lot of the, explosiveness. Again, people know our identity. We're going to try to make the game physical, and so we run into some defense trying to take that away. So it's not going to be overly every snap successful. So we're not down on that part at all, but we also need to maintain it.
You spoke about Ward a little bit earlier. Could you elaborate on what makes him such a dangerous quarterback for them in their system?
Understands the scheme. accurate, can get the ball out quickly, can change his arm angle. He's elusive, extending the play. He's not small. This guy's over 200 pounds. He's not easy to bring down. So you throw all that together, it's tough to defend.
You know, last season you guys were able to really contain Ward here at Reser Stadium. I mean, I know the numbers, he had over 300 yards passing, but I feel a lot of that was bloated. He threw less than 50% of his passes completed. What's your guys' biggest concern this season against Washington State, especially with what we're seeing from Ward and the wide receiving core so early on and what they've been able to do against the opponents they faced?
Yeah, concerning the explosiveness, trying to find ways to limit the explosive plays, the tempo they play at. I think it's even quicker than what they were doing last year, getting back on the ball and getting it snapped. So we got to be able to get lined up, have our eyes right. Those two stand out to me.